Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Magic Money with me, Matt. And you may not realize this, but September is National Life Insurance Awareness Month. I know, boring. Most people think insurance is boring, although that's not the only thing we do at the Turning Point Group. It's some kind of an important aspect of your entire financial picture, right? And there's different ways to use life insurance for different purposes beyond just a basic term policy. I think a lot of us in middle America, we just have the term thing or the group insurance provided through our work. And that's great for protecting your family. Not so good for you, right? Because it only pays, right, that benefit when you pass away, which is, like I said, good for protecting your family. But there's so much more beyond just that basic, cheap term insurance that you can use out there. And a real life example of this, I'll kind of share with you. I got an email over Labor Day weekend from the wife of a magician whose mailing list I'm on. Now, I know this performer. He's a professional magician based out in California. He actually lives in my hometown of Burbank. And she sent out kind of a heartfelt email to everybody on the email list explaining that her husband had been recently stricken with a rare disease, cancer disease, had gone through surgery, was just fine, but is now going through chemotherapy. And basically, she's kind of the caregiver. So here's a gentleman who's a full-time professional magician, very successful, touring cruise ships, doing corporate events and all that, trade shows, very successful, and just kind of halted in the prime of his career, not that old, because of a disease. It happens. Life happens. I don't know the details of their financial situation. Obviously, I don't know the details what kind of insurance they had. But in this email, she said, that the magic community has rallied around him, his close friends, which is what they do, which is great, and started kind of a fundraiser of selling some items online, and all the money, the proceeds are going towards helping them, presumably with their medical expenses and things like that. That's awesome. That's great. I love hearing positive stories of communities coming together to help people, but it doesn't have to be that way. They could have had a life insurance policy with living benefits. So you may not realize this, but there's actually things out there, policies out there, where you can use part of the death benefit for critical illness, chronic illness, to help pay for medical expenses while you're still living. Cover things like disability. My niece was recently in a car accident a few months ago. Could have easily been paralyzed. Luckily, she's fine, no, huge issues, but still had to go through a lot of physical therapy and all that, but she could have easily been paralyzed. What would she have done? I mean, she's young, that's fine, but, life happens. So when I saw this email, my heart kind of went out to this magician acquaintance, and I think that they will be okay. But again, I don't know that. But the right kind of policy with living benefits could have probably really put them in a better situation. And probably nobody ever sat down and talked with them about that. As a small business owner, especially a single proprietor, which is probably what he is, not a big company, it's just him. He goes out and does the magic. His wife helps him with the mail order business, things like that. If he's out of commission, he's out of commission. He's not making money. He's the sole source of income. So think about that for all of you out there who are small business owners as well. If something would happen to you, if you would become disabled or sick and all that, how's it going to affect your business? But anyways, so just think about that. If you've never thought about things beyond a term policy, get with a professional, have them sit down, look through your options. Obviously, we'd prefer that it would be with us, because I think what we do is great, but if not, talk to somebody. A lot of times you can, depending on the company or companies that you're with, you can actually do a free upgrade from a term policy to something else, with living benefits. A lot of companies will actually do that. But anyways, that's it. So life insurance is not just for when you're dead. if you have the right kind of policy, life insurance can actually be a asset to help you when you're living, to overcome some of those challenges that life gives us. A lot of times it's more difficult to overcome an illness or a disability, perhaps, than just to pass on from this world and leave our assets to our family. So, I'd love to hear any questions, comments you have. If you guys have any stories you would like to share of situations that you know about where possibly living benefits have helped somebody, or sadly, I'm sure you probably have some stories of situations where somebody could have used those living benefits and they didn't have that in place. So it's awareness. Lots of folks out there could use our information and use our help, but you have to be open to having that conversation. It can be a little bit difficult, but in this particular case, it's happening all the time, and real people are having struggles, and a lot of times the right insurance, the right living benefits can come in and really alleviate a lot of that financial burden that the family is experiencing. So that's all I got for this afternoon. Try to leave on a positive note. Didn't mean to be much of a downer, but that email really kind of tugged at my heartstrings this weekend, and I just wanted to share that with you all. Real life, can't make this up. Have a great rest of the afternoon. We'll talk to you again soon.